better business, and a better life begin here. Welcome to Business is Art on TrueChat with author and business consultant, John Umstead.
Thank you for tuning in today. I'm John Umstead. We're going to be talking today about the importance of protecting your business. Actually, we're going to have a couple of shows on this topic. So today is the first, and then in a couple of weeks, we'll have a follow-up episode where we'll talk about things from a little bit of a different angle. But today, we're going to be speaking with Marianne Bailey. She's the founder of Catalog U. And before we begin that conversation, I would like to remind you all to join the discussion, if you would, please. Go out and reach out to me on Twitter at John Umstead. You can find me on LinkedIn, or you can go to my website, plancanvas.net, where you can learn a little bit about my consulting services as well as the strategy execution management software, which is code words for plan your business and then execute to the plan, strategy, execution management. Go out and check it out, plancanvas.net. But let's get this conversation underway with Marianne. Again, Marianne Bailey, founder of Catalog U. Welcome back to the show, Marianne. You've been on before, but it's been a while.
I have. Thanks for having me back.
We're glad to have you here. This is an important topic. And like I said, we're going to actually cover it in two episodes, one with you and one in a couple of weeks with someone from the insurance side, discussing how to protect a business. But let's go to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, if you would, please.
Like you said, my name is Marianne. I am a geek. I love technology. Anything that has to do with it, the better. I live in Centerville, Ohio with my dog, Othello, and anything that I can do to stay current and relevant in the computer world or hang out with my daughter, I'm game.
Othello the dog, may I ask how you named your pup?
He was a rescue. He had stayed in a cage for a year and a half at a humane society.
Aww.
And so I felt he was unique. He's a gorgeous dog, and I just wanted him to have a unique name.
That's great. That's awesome. My daughter just adopted a puppy about a week and a half ago. So I guess it would be.
So they're not sleeping.
No, because this is the puppy's now 8 weeks old. She named it Vega. She also wanted kind of a unique name, so she named it Vega. I'm pretty sure that my daughter has no idea that was the name of a car. She named it after a character in a book that she was reading.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I'd love to hear about dog rescues and dog adoptions. So let's get to it. What is Catalog U?
Catalog U is an inventory service that helps businesses and homeowners both take a complete inventory of their office or home and brings it together in a report for their insurance, their legal, for their attorney, or just for their personal needs. They want to know exactly what it is they have. So we go out to your office or someone's home. We take a video of the whole entire place. And then we go through and we start taking photographs of everything, appliances, office machinery, computers, the tags on the stuff. We want to know the serial numbers of your stuff, the model numbers, all that kind of stuff, so that if something were to happen, say your place burnt down in a fire or there was a tornado and swept your home away, you have a report that you can give to your insurance company to help them help you be able to get your money back on your claim.
As I mentioned at the onset, you've been on the show before, and you had a service called the Senior Tutor. Tell us about that service, and are you still doing it?
I am. The Senior Tutor is being rebranded, and I waited until today so that I could announce it to you first.
Oh, wow.
That I am rebranding it. The new name is going to be its website. It's going to be onlinetechlessons.com. And we are going nationwide with it.
Nice.
So we will be able to pop online and screen share with you with back and forth without actually accessing your computer or your iPhone or whatever, and be able to teach people what they need to learn. So these may be senior citizens still. I love teaching senior citizens. It's the funnest part of my day. That was English, right? Funnest.
The most funner, I think, is the proper English.
I think so also. But this also enables us to be able to teach people that maybe want to be re-entering the workforce, or be looking for promotion, and they need to be able to learn more skills using these things. So we're able to help them with that as well.
Can you tell me just what are some of the typical technologies that you are providing lessons?
Well, with most senior citizens, and see that it varies because we customize it per person. So with senior citizens, their biggest thing is they want to know how to get on Facebook. They want to know how to upload a picture, for instance, or be able to see pictures of their grandchildren or their families. Then probably the biggest next thing is email. And then they all have iPhones and smartphones these days. So they want to know how to text. And I tell them, learn how to text as fast as you can, because now you can keep up and keep in touch with your grandkids.
Right. And sometimes that's the only way too.
Pardon me?
I said sometimes that's the only way to keep up and keep in touch with your grandkids.
Well, even your kids. Sometimes that's the only way I can get my daughter to answer my messages is to text her. So.
Yep. It's funny. My dad within the last year has become the master of the GIF. He uses GIFs all the time now. And, it stuns me. It still stuns me to see him, post something, and it's entirely appropriate to the conversation that's been going on through the thread. Instead of just something completely out of left field. So it just is amazing.
My mom has become the queen of emojis. Every text she sent has like 4 emojis attached to it.
Yep. The more, the better. Well, congratulations on that rebranding and launching the online service. That's great. And, pretty cool that you announced it here on the show. So thank you for sharing.
Thanks for letting me share.
So that all brings us to the next point, which is that you're pretty busy, right? So what really compelled you to start Catalog U?
You know how some days you wake up and something's in your head and it just tells you, whether it's the world or God or whatever it is that you believe in, something's in your head saying, you really need to do this.
Right.
And this was it. I woke up one morning, had a somewhat disgruntling experience in another business adventure. And I said, you know what? I need to do something that truly helps people. And everything I do in life and business, out there, I'm trying to help people.
Right.
And I felt that there were not enough people that understood the ramifications of what they were getting into when they had home insurance or business insurance, and they're not prepared for it.
Well, you raise an excellent point here, a little bit unrelated to the topic that we're going to cover, but that waking up with that feeling or with that idea is pretty common, and even more as common, or almost as common, is the fact that we don't write these things down or we don't take action on them. We wake up with it and then we go do whatever it is that we do, have breakfast, go to the gym, go to work, whatever, and forget all about it. And then in the evening, you try to recall it. You just can't quite remember it the way you woke up thinking or feeling about it. And so you let it go. So it's really important to pay attention to those things because they're real. You are in a very creative state right in that phase where you're between deep sleep and waking, is a very creative time. And so you need to pay attention to those things. And when you're hit with them, if it feels good when you wake up with it, record it some way or another. Make sure you can remember it and then see if there's something you can do about it later. So kudos to you for recognizing that.
That is so true. I don't think enough people really go after their dreams when they have them. And, we don't just have those randomly. They do exist. Right. And for instance, I was talking to a friend of ours about a dating app. Everybody out there is online dating. And I have seniors that ask me to help them learn how to online date as well, by the way. But we were joking around and we said, we should make an app where your friends can swipe for you,
Mm-hmm.
choosing somebody maybe that you wouldn't think of or whatever, or see it differently. I woke up this morning, sure enough, I looked online and there's a new dating app out there that allows your friends to swipe for you. I was like, oh, come on. That was my idea.
Well, think about that for a minute. You've got your, the classic wingman or sidekick, and, you're out and you meet someone and your best friend comes up to you and says, no, walk away, because we know each other, right? We know our friends know us, we know them, and we can kind of see things from a different perspective. And I think the same is true of parents. I used to, when I was much younger, I used to think that's really odd. Cultures that, where the parents or the family, selects the mate, for the family member. And the older I got, the more I thought that's not a bad idea, because we make some pretty big mistakes when we're younger, even older, right? We can make some pretty big mistakes. We get blinded by a few things.
Yeah. I can't even comment on that right now, John. I've made so many mistakes and learned from so much of it in the last couple of years that we just can't even go there today.
Well, if it comforts you any, I've made plenty. So there you go.
I figured as long as you learn from mistakes, whether it's dating or in business or whatever, as long as you learn from it, it's not really a mistake. It's just a lesson learned.
It's a lesson. That's right. You learn, you apply it, you move on. All right. Hey, folks, if you want to join our discussion, you can find TrueChat on social media at TrueChat.org. Again, that's TrueChat.org. Or reach out to me directly on Twitter as well at John Umstead. But we want to hear from you. We want to hear what you think of today's episode, any past episodes, what you'd like to hear on any future episodes, or just anything randomly on your mind that you'd like to talk about. But do reach out to us, please. Makes this a whole lot more worthwhile. All right, so let's get back to this conversation. We're going to be talking about the importance of protecting your business, and we're speaking with Marianne Bailey. She is the founder of Catalog U, as well as OnlineTechLessons.com, the rebranded version of the previous Senior Tutor. So, but your Catalog U business is, really what's germane to this conversation, Marianne. So let's get into it a little bit. You described, Catalog U a bit. Can we get into it a little bit more deeply now and describe really what is the primary goal of your service, particularly as it pertains to a business owner or a business?
Sure. The primary goal is, like I said, is to make sure that you're prepared. So many times businesses have no clue what is in their building. Okay. I don't care about their books and, well, I mean, I care about my books, but I don't, as far as that goes. But when it comes to their physical possessions, their computers, if it's a restaurant, they've got tables and chairs and booths and artwork, on the walls and, pots and pans and all kinds of stuff. And they most of the time don't have a good working inventory of this stuff. So for instance, a fire would happen in a restaurant, right? Burns the place down. Mm-hmm. They have to stop and say, okay, I have to file an insurance claim and I'm upset. My place of business is just burnt down. I'm upset. My family's upset. My employees are upset. Trying to remember everything that they possibly can that was in that structure is nearly impossible. So by having a working inventory of knowing what's going in your building, what's coming out, what's on your walls, what you spent for these items, and how much it would cost to replace these items. All of that stuff is covered in what we do. We compile all the stuff together. We work with the property owner to say, okay, where are the receipts for this stuff? Because a lot of times places like that will keep their receipts in their place of business, right? Mm-hmm. Fire burns down, those are gone too. How do they even begin to recover from that and be able to get a really good estimate for their insurance agent? Their insurance agent, they want to work for them, but you've only got usually at the most 6 months to claim everything that was in that building. And if you forget and that claim is closed, you're out of luck.
Yeah. And different types of insurance for different types of, disasters or events, insurable events. We'll have, post, reporting timelines. So not just when the claim is closed, but at the time that you, report a claim. So that first notice of loss, at that time, the clock starts ticking, and same thing. If you miss something, overlook it, and whatever regulated, controlled time frame is allotted to this particular type of an insurance claim. Once it goes past that, again, you're out of luck, right? So
it is. You may have something out in the shed somewhere that you use for your business once a year. And you may not think about it, but it might be, $5,000-$10,000 piece of equipment. But if it burnt down as well, or, whatever the case was, swept away in a tornado or theft, even, the reason we do all this stuff also is if places get robbed and broken into. So if somebody stole something out of your business, then, you may not even realize it for a good while. And by then it might be too late.
We've talked about some of the major points, and I don't want to I don't want to risk insulting anyone's intelligence that may be listening to this, but let's hammer this point home. Why is it important for a business to protect themselves, particularly from disasters?
Because that's their bottom line. Because they cannot remember everything that they had. You think you can. But if you're upset, you're disoriented, you've got things going on, closing your eyes and trying to think about everything you have. If you can't remember everything you have and it's not written down, you don't have pictures and receipts taken pictures of and stuff like that, you're going to lose money.
I don't know if you are aware, Marianne, but I have a background in insurance. Spent some time at Nationwide Insurance as an employee and as a consultant. And then I ran a flood insurance operation on behalf of multiple insurance companies for a number of years. So I kind of understand how this all works from all kinds of angles. And I want to preface this by saying I thoroughly believe in insurance. Insurance is a good thing. But there are bad players out there, and you have to protect yourselves from them. And if you think about it, just at really high level, a really high level viewpoint, an insurance company is there to make money, right? So they are going to bring in money through premiums and investments and the way they, handle their cash. They spend money by providing the service, which includes settling the claim. So like any business, they're going to want to minimize their costs, and claims is a cost to an insurance company. So they are not going to be out there acting in a way that will maximize your claim settlement, right? They're not going to be out there looking for every nook and cranny. Oh, did you know this is covered? This is covered too. Oh, what about that? They're hoping, I guess I shouldn't say this, but I will. They're hoping you're going to miss things, right? Because the lower the claim, the less cost it is to them. So they're seeking a fair settlement. But if you forgot some stuff, hey, that's on you. That's not on them, right?
And you know what? You hope that you are doing business with somebody who does have your best interest in mind. You hope that your insurance agent does care about whether you succeed, whether you rebuild, stuff like that. So I'm not saying that, all insurance agents are trying to beat that bottom line and not give you your money back. That's the last thing I'm saying. I'm just saying that I hope that they're doing business with people they can trust and doing that. But again, like you said, if they don't remember something, it's on them. And like I said, you're upset, you're stressed, and everyone around you is stressed and upset. You can't remember everything. It's impossible. You want to think you can, but you can't.
Right. And most of the time it's not even the agent at that point. When you've got a claim, there's a claims adjuster, and they may or may not be an employee of the insurance company. In fact, a big swing over the last decade or so in the insurance industry has been for the major carriers to really hire independent claims adjusters. And they're incentivized by getting the claim settled quickly, and covering what's noticeable. But they aren't out there. I can tell you, they aren't out there breaking their hind ends to try to find more than what meets the eye. So, and that's on the claims adjusting side. So, and it's not that they're bad people. It's just that it's their job and and the way they're incentivized. So, we all have to take responsibilities. This is one way for us to take responsibility of the stuff that is within our control and within our wheelhouse. And, to add, to that, Marianne, I had an experience years ago. I had a lot of sound equipment. I was in a band and we shared ownership of this equipment, but it was in the place that I was renting. So it was covered under my renter's insurance. And, we were young kids and, it was, all second, third, fourth hand equipment, cash, pay some dude out of his garage, and, never hold on to receipts and that sort of stuff. You just have this mountain of equipment that's worth something. And sure enough, the house was broken into and a lot of the equipment was stolen. Well, we could rattle off, most of the equipment. It's like you said, no one can remember everything unless they have, that type of a memory, which most of us don't. But, we could list most of the things, but we had no clue, could not tell you how old anything was, when it was made, any model numbers, any of that stuff that would help in settling a claim. And it was a very, very painful process.
It can be. And the problem with that also is that a lot of times you're like, oh, I had this equipment or I had this computer. Well, what brand, what model? They don't know. Oh, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Like if you were to name your TV in your living room, you might be able to say, oh, it's a Vizio 65-inch, looks great on my wall. What model?
Right.
Is it a $1,500 model or is it a $500 model? If you can't prove it, then your insurance probably company is going to want to settle on that 500 number and not the 1,500 you actually paid.
Right.
And then inflation comes into mind. If you have to replace everything, are your items worth more money now or are they worth less? Will it cost more to replace them or not? So the other thing is like businesses that are moving, they want to have me come out and do an inventory before they move. They want to make sure that what they're moving is in good condition and documented so that when the movers get to the other end, if something's broken, they can file that on the insurance as well. If it's stolen, they want to know that was there as well. I give them a third party overall picture of what they own before they happen. Maybe somebody has a business partnership and they're splitting up. I can go in and do an inventory and be able to say, okay, here's what you have. Let's divide this. That's up to them, but at least they've got a third party working with them, kind of smoothing things out a little bit and knowing what's what.
Right. And oftentimes that third party, is a much more, reliable source, to someone who is reviewing an inventory list, because, theoretically, there's no, emotional or material skin in the game for that third party. They're just providing a service.
Exactly.
And hey, Marianne, let's take a moment to remind our listeners that all the podcasts on the TrueChat network pursue a common goal. TrueChat's mission is to educate people by providing honest, open, and respectful conversations. And if you have any ethical concerns with today's episode, please email ethics@truechat.org. Again, that's ethics@truechat.org. And also, if you want to join the discussion, find TrueChat on social media at TrueChat.org. That's TrueChat.org, or reach out to me at John Umstead on Twitter, if you would, please. All right, let's get back to this conversation and begin to wrap some things up. So we've talked about the importance of just knowing what you've got, a good detailed inventory of what you have in your business. But in addition to that inventory of property, assets, et cetera, what else should a business do to protect itself?
I think these days, one of the biggest things they can do to protect themselves is to know, again, what they have, But not only just material items, when it comes to things like their website and digital information, what's going on with their website, their social media, where that information is. Should something happen to one of the business owners, who's going to take over for that? Usually they have that pretty well planned out, but how does that person find all the information to be able to continue doing stuff like their social media and their website and their online ordering, stuff like that kind of stuff. So that kind of stuff is important also to protect themselves as well, and have all that information clearly lined out on, thumb drive, possibly put into a post office box somewhere, somebody else's house, or their attorney's office, or their insurance agent's office.
Yeah, you hit a couple of points here as well I'd like to expand on. One, you mentioned attorney. If you are in business, you should have an attorney, because there are any number of things that you need an attorney to look over on your behalf. And beyond that, you just need to be protected in the event of any worst case scenarios coming up. You don't want to be calling the first attorney that you find in the book. Right. So make sure you've got that kind of thing lined up. Same with an insurance agent, tax accountant, all of those. You have to consider those roles as part of your team. And a really good point on website and things like that. We could do a whole nother show on the subjects of intellectual property or IP protection, copyrights, trademarks, patents, all of that kind of protection as well. So be thinking about those things as you are setting up or running your businesses, because as Marianne says, it's not just those physical assets. You have these other things that are out there that are important to your business. And if anything happens to them, including theft of those things, then you could be in deep trouble. So make sure you're covering all those. Appreciate those points, Marianne.
Absolutely. And the other thing is to have a contract in place. No matter who you're working with, don't just go by word of mouth, verbal agreements. Always have something in writing when you have a working arrangement with somebody.
Well, you said it. I don't care how well you know the other individual. Do everything with a contract. If they're your friend, you want to keep them your friend. And sometimes contracts are only as good as the piece of paper they're written on, right? But at least it's something that gives both parties something to hold up and stand on.
They can stand on it, and they both know what their responsibilities and what they're where they're going with it. So
yeah, expectations. If you know what's expected, it's a whole lot easier to deliver.
It is.
All right. All excellent points. And like I said, any number of those points we could do an entire episode on. So appreciate that. I have just a couple more questions for you.
Sure.
One is, any final advice that you'd like to leave for our listeners, but maybe just before that, is there anything else? So that final advice question is more general, but more specifically, before you get to that, is there anything else that you really wanted to cover on this topic of the importance of protecting your business?
No, like I said, for me, when I came up with this idea, it was like, gosh, there has to be something out there protecting people and them knowing what they have or whatever. Turns out that there is an organization that actually backs people that do this line of work. And people don't think that they need this until they need it.
Right.
If your place of business burned down, or you're robbed, or whatever the case is, stuff was stolen, gosh, I really wish I knew what was in there. What was in that back room again? People don't realize it. Look at the families out in California whose houses all burned down. Those poor neighborhoods are just rubble now. They're upset. They're living in a Walmart parking lot. They don't remember everything they had. Right. So the same with businesses. It's impossible to know that. And so the more they invest in themselves and have a working inventory. Our inventories, we do them. They're usually completed within a week or two, including pricing and replacement value cost and stuff like that are inputted into it. But then we also give businesses 1 year free updates on top of that. Okay. So it truly is a working inventory for them. They can add to it, take things out,
the overall general stuff, though, I mean, that's great because it's like everything else. Everything changes all the time. So you've got to keep this stuff up to date as well. It's not like any inventory that you create now is going to be totally relevant 6 months from now, no matter what kind of business you are in. So that's a good service. And, when you said, people don't know that they need this until they need it. You're preaching to the choir there. I have a passion for strategic planning and business planning, and it is so hard to get people to recognize that they really need to do this stuff, not just when somebody, say a loan officer says, I need a business plan, in order for you to get the loan, not just on moments like that, but all the time to maximize the results of your, coming out of your business. And, it's a hard message because it's the same thing. You don't know you need it until you need it. And, you think, I got it. I got this. And then that's when problems arise. Yeah,
that's you're by not having a working inventory for your business or your home, you're leaving money laying on the table, plain and clear. You're bound to forget stuff. Help your agent or your claim adjuster help you. Is basically what it comes down to. Help yourself.
Okay, Marianne, very, very much appreciate you being here, talking about the importance of protecting your business. Where can people find you, your work, or any special cause that you might like to mention or promote?
I do have a cause, but they can find me at catalogu.com and onlinetechlessons.com. They can call me at 937-313-6816. And there's information on both those websites of how to find me in other ways, as well as you can pretty much find me on all social media outlets as well. And the other thing I would like to do is remind everybody how important it is to know CPR and to go to heart.org or redcross.org, learn why it's important to know CPR and where they can find lessons in their local community.
You can listen to TrueChat podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and anywhere that fine podcasts are found. For Business is Art on TrueChat, I'm your host, John Umstead. Again, my guest has been Marianne Bailey, the founder of Catalog U, as well as onlinetechlessons.com. One last time, Marianne, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, John, for having me. I really appreciate it.
All righty. Hey, we'll see everybody the next time on Business is Art. Be the change.